I was just rocking on my porch, half asleep with my dog beside me, when this woman I'd never seen before screamed at me through my front gate, said my house was hers. 10 minutes later, she pulled a pistol and told me to leave her land. I'm not making this up. She claimed my entire property was part of her independent nation. My name's Eli Warren. I live alone. Well, with my dog Scout, on a stretch of land about 20 minutes outside a small Nebraska town called Ash Hollow. Bought the place 5 years ago with savings and a whole lot of sweat. Built the fence myself, laid every tile in that house with my bare hands. I've always liked the quiet, the space. I freelance online, so I don't need to deal with people much, and that's how I like it. That day started like most. It was golden hour, the sky bleeding orange and pink across the horizon. Scout was chasing grasshoppers. I was in my rocking chair, half dozing with some music on low. Peaceful, calm. Then Scout started barking. Not playful barking, but full-blown warning mode. I opened my eyes, and there she was, standing just outside my gate. Mid-50s, short red hair, hiking boots, sunglasses pushed up on her head like she owned the damn sunset. She stared down Scout like he was trespassing, not the other way around. I got up, told Scout to hush. He didn't. That should have been my first real clue. He always listens. This time he stayed planted, growling, hackles raised. I walked over slowly, trying to be polite, though I was already uneasy. "Can I help you, ma'am?" I asked. She didn't answer the question. Instead, she pointed at my house and said, "That structure belongs to me." I thought maybe I misheard. I laughed awkwardly, said, "Sorry." She steps forward. "This land is part of the sovereign state of Lindara, which I founded in 2014. You are occupying it illegally." Now look, I've dealt with weirdos. Living this far out, you get the occasional wanderer or survivalist type. But this woman had papers. Not real papers, mind you. Handwritten maps, self-stamped documents, all declaring this area some kind of non-federal jurisdiction. My land, my house, my dog's backyard, all supposedly under her authority. I tried reasoning. Told her I bought this land. I've got a deed registered with the county. I've paid taxes every damn year. She didn't care. "You have to vacate immediately or there will be consequences," she said, dead serious. "You're violating international law." I asked to see her paperwork. She snapped. "You don't ask a sovereign anything. You're the trespasser. I don't need permission to enforce the boundaries of my nation." I took out my phone and started recording. And right there, things went nuclear. She screamed at me to stop filming, reached into her bag, and pulled out a gun. Not pointed at the sky, not kept low. She leveled it right at my chest. "Leave. Now," she said, shaking, but clearly convinced she was righteous. "This is my final warning." Scout went ballistic. I held up my hands and said, Okay, I'll leave. Just let me grab some stuff." I backed away slowly, went inside with Scout, and stuffed my backpack with essentials: laptop, birth certificate, the deed, a week's worth of clothes, Scout's food and leash. I didn't call 911. My phone was still recording, and the walls are thin. I didn't want to push her over the edge. Not when she had a loaded weapon and a fantasy flag. As I left, she smiled. Legitimately smiled like some villain in a movie. "Glad to see you recognize my sovereignty," she said. "You're lucky I'm being merciful." I drove straight to my sister's apartment in town. Brooke is the opposite of me. Fiery, loud, no patience for bullshit. I barely finished telling her the story before she threw on her coat and said, "We're going to the police right now." I didn't argue. At the station, I showed the deputy the video. From the argument, to the screaming, to the moment she drew the gun. They took one look and said, "We need to move fast. If she's still in the house, that's felony trespassing at minimum." Turns out the sheriff himself, Don Harper, was in the station that night. He asked to join the officers, said he'd dealt with sovereign citizen nutcases before, and his presence might calm things down. We drove in a convoy. Me, Brooke, the sheriff, and 2 deputies. Sirens off till we were close. But once we got near the property, the cruiser lit up like a Christmas tree. Karen, or whatever her real name is, had parked her Subaru right on my lawn. Not the driveway, the lawn, like it was hers now. The sheriff and the deputies got out, knocked once, waited, knocked harder. Still nothing. Then he shouted, "You've got 10 seconds to open this door or we're coming in. We have a warrant." It wasn't a bluff. She hadn't been there long enough to be considered a tenant or squatter, and she'd brandished a gun. That gave them full authority. Finally, the door creaked open. There she stood, in a bathrobe that wasn't mine. I don't even own a bathrobe. Hair in a towel, like she was getting ready for a spa night. She blinked like the lights were too bright and said, "Is there a problem, officer?" The sheriff didn't even flinch. "This your home, ma'am?" "Yes," she said. "I've lived here for years." "And you've got paperwork to prove that?" She hesitated. "It's being processed by the Lindara Bureau of Records." The sheriff turned slightly, motioned for me to come forward. "This man says he's the rightful owner, that you pulled a weapon on him." Karen exploded. "He's lying. He broke into my home. I've been fighting off squatters for years. He's a thief." The sheriff kept his cool, told one deputy to run her plates. Meanwhile, I slipped past them into my bedroom, pulled the deed from a folder in my fireproof safe, and brought it out. He looked it over, nodded, then turned to her. "Ma'am, you're under arrest for trespassing and felony assault with a deadly weapon." That's when she lost it, screaming, kicking, tried to run. It took all 3 of them to get her cuffed and into the cruiser. The whole time she was yelling about international law and sovereign immunity and foreign occupation. It was equal parts pathetic and terrifying. Before they drove off, the sheriff said, "You'll need to testify, but with that video, this should be an open and shut case." And it was. She pleaded guilty a few weeks later. Her lawyer probably told her there was no escape. Got 3 months in jail, $2,000 in fines, and a restraining order that keeps her 500 feet from my property. I added cameras, reinforced the gate, and keep my phone fully charged now, just in case. But I still think about that night. The porch, the rocking chair, that smug smile, and the gun. Makes you wonder just how many delusional people are walking around with their own maps, their own laws, thinking they can just take what isn't theirs. So, who was really in the wrong here?